It looked like somebody was bent over and had their head in the window of the deer blind. It either heard me or smelt me, and he pulled his head out of the tent and stood straight up, and that shocked me. They don't make people that big.
The way it moved, almost as if it was gliding across the beach. I've never seen anything move like that in my life. They were screaming at each other in gibberish. It sounded like a language, and they were chuntering away back and forwards, back and forwards, back and forwards. I know what a bear looks like, and there is no way on this planet that what I saw were bears.
911, what are you reporting?
Jesus Christ, you better...
Sir?
Gia!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh.
Hey, get away from that. Don't touch that. Unta! I can't stand those Jawas. Disgusting creatures. Welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. Got a great show planned for you. Tonight, we're going to be chatting with Maurice. And Maurice actually comes to us from Canada. Growing up, he would spend a lot of time with his grandfather, and they were up in the Yukon, and they were driving down the highway, and they had a sighting. And it's kind of fascinating for Maurice to kind of retell how his grandfather reacted, and then later in life, how he would react to certain situations. He told Maurice, it's a bear, don't talk about it, and he basically left it at that. It's very, very fascinating. Maurice has actually seen the lights too out there in Canada, so he'll be going into that tonight. We're also going to be chatting with Mike. And just a few years ago, Mike and his father were in Pennsylvania, and they were driving to a location, and his dad looked over and kept talking about this horse. And for about the next mile, he was telling Mike about this weird horse he saw. So Mike and his dad go back to the location, come to find out it's not a horse. What they thought was a horse got up on two legs and walked off. If you've had an encounter and you'd like to be on the show, shoot me an email. My email address is wes@sasquatchchronicles.com. And I'm also working on Ambush at Ape Canyon, and I'll probably just keep this just for the members because I have a feeling I'm going to put a lot of work into it. But as I was looking up this, the Ape Canyon, Ambush at Ape Canyon, and I really wanted to tell the whole story, even all the weird stuff that went on. We all know the story, the miners that got attacked in the cabin. But prior to that happening, there was a lot of bizarre things that went on that Fred Beck talks about. And so I kind of want to tell the whole story of Ape Canyon. But as I was going into that, I came across this gentleman that disappeared on Mount St. Helens in 1950. His name's Jim Carter, and basically he was a professional skier. He was search and rescue. I mean, he was the guy you'd want to be with if you were lost. And he was up there with a bunch of people. I think there was 8 skiers up there, and they were all pros. He separated from the group just for a moment, and then he vanished. And the reports of what he did is just weird. It's like he took off down the mountain like something was chasing him. He was jumping over crevasses, which you would never do up there. And he was just going, balls out down this mountain trying to get away from something. And one of the later search and rescue people that that was looking at this whole situation made a weird reference to the mountain devils got him. And there's conflicting reports whether they found tracks that were chasing him down the mountain, whether they didn't find tracks. So working on a lot of things. Thank you again for being here tonight. Let's jump into it. I want to welcome Maurice to the show. Maurice, thanks for coming on.
Oh, not a problem. Glad to be here.
And I really want to get into the encounter that happened to you when you were a young boy with your grandfather and what you guys saw that day. Before we actually started recording, you were telling me about camping with your wife and hearing monkey sounds. If you would kind of tell us about that. Where were you guys at? When did this happen? And just kind of walk us into it.
Well, we were camping at Miracle Beach, which is just north of Nanaimo on Vancouver Island. We've been there for a couple days, and actually, my wife had a rough night, and she had actually went to bed early. She had gotten a little sick. I don't know if it was from, what we ate that day, but my neighbor, Brandy, and we had stayed up talking all night long by the campfire, and so I was a little out of it. I went to bed, and then in the morning, it must have been probably 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. She wakes me up. She goes, "There sounds like monkeys out there." And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And I didn't really get to hear it, but she did. And in the morning, she's like, there was a lot of commotion out there. It sounded like a bunch of, monkeys and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, that sounds kind of weird. I wonder if there was like kids running around. I didn't put two and two together, but it couldn't have been maybe a few days later. I was listening to a podcast, and I'm sorry it wasn't yours, but it was, what's his name at the Sierra Sounds? Oh
yeah, Ron Moorhead.
Yeah, Ron Moorhead. He was on a podcast that they do in Australia, and he was playing the Sierra Sounds. And my wife goes, "That's it." I was like, "What are you talking about?" "That's what I heard that night. It sounds just like that." She's like, "It sounded like a bunch of monkeys, but it sounded like talking, like they were communicating." I was like, "Why didn't you wake me up more?" I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And she's like, "No, it sounds just like that. That whole whoop, 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 whoop." I was like, "What? Are you kidding me? I missed it." I wish well, she's not here right now, but I wish I could probably get her to tell you better than I could.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was like, no. And she got me to rewind it. She's like, "I want to listen to that again." She's like, "No, that's exactly what it sounded like." And I was like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me." I could have had my phone. I could have recorded and everything. I'm like, no, I was too out of it.
Yeah, the Sierra sounds are definitely odd, especially the ones that sound like a monkey. I think I have it here. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to hear that in my tent at night. What was the location? Where were you at, Maurice, when your wife heard this?
So there's a town called Comox, and so it's just literally a hop, skip, and a jump away from Comox. It's a little provincial park that sits right on the Georgia Strait, and I guess it's probably about an hour and a half or an hour north of Nanaimo, right around there. It's mid-island on Vancouver Island, so it's on the eastern side of the island.
Yeah, it's definitely strange hearing that chatter, when you're out in the woods. And have you guys ever gone back to that area?
We actually went there again, probably, I'd say about 2 months ago. And I was a little more alert. I was kind of paying attention at night. And actually, I was up, and it was probably around 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was just kind of listening. I could hear sticks breaking and stuff like that, but that's a normal thing. But I actually heard, or should I say I felt,